doesn't really matter what kind of fight you're going into. Whether it's a fight for new competition, it's a fight to hold the values that you want for your organization, it's the fight to build something new that has never existed before, or it's a fight against the system that you feel like is unfair, unjust, or going in the wrong direction. Regardless of what the fight is, there's something that every leader absolutely must be wise about, something they've got to know. And knowing it isn't always easy. Knowing it sometimes feels like a game. But if it's a game, it's a very high stakes game. What that something is that every leader must know before going into the fight is what we're going to talk about today on Leading Leaders Podcast. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. I believe it was maybe in as early as, Napoleon Hill, maybe even before that, who said you'll become like the 5 people that you hang out with. Jim Collins said you got to know that you got the right people in the right seats on the bus before you can journey together. John Maxwell says, though, you got to know that there are some people who are going to want off the bus. Some who are not qualified to get on the bus in the first place. Some who got on the bus at the stop, they had no idea where the bus was going, and now you're thinking, are you even going where we're going? Because it doesn't seem like you're on the right bus. And it's hard as a leader when you've got people on the bus and the bus is already moving down the road to think, well, there's a couple of these people that I need to get rid of, or there's a couple of people that I need to let off. You might even like them. They might even be friends by now. But what leaders need to know is who is supposed to be on the bus, who is supposed to go into battle with you, who is supposed to be standing alongside the fight with you. Now, there are certain places where we all have friends. We all have friends that are outside the circle of our daily operations. People we grew up with, people we hang out with, maybe even family members that on a weekend when it's nothing critical going on, it's just chilling time, they're great people to hang out with, to have a drink with, to sit around the pool with, to intermingle kids with, and have a great time together. But if you are going into a fire, the person you want on either side of you is a trained firefighter. If you're going into battle, the person you want beside you is a trained warrior. If you're a Navy SEAL, you don't stop off at the donut shop and pick up the latest baker on your way into a fight. No, if you're a Navy SEAL going into battle, you're looking for other Navy SEALs to go into battle with. Why? Because you need them to know what you know. They need to have the same level of skill. They need to have the same awareness and intuitions in how you're going to react to things so that when you bob, they bob. When you weave, they weave. When you duck, they duck. And if you run out of ammo, they know how and when and where to fire, how to conserve the ammo, how to fight back wisely. If this is in a business setting and you're in that conference meeting and you're about to close the sale and you've got one person that just won't shut up, they can talk you out of that sale. They need to know when to be quiet. They need to know when silence is the best negotiator. And if they're not trained, if they're not skilled up to that level, if they're not prepared for that magnitude of negotiation, then that person shouldn't be on the bus on this trip. It's really hard as leaders, not only to decide who to let off the bus, but who to let on the bus. Training qualifications can help with that a lot. Personalities can help with that a lot. Deciding who it is that you like to be around can be a double-edged sword, though. You need to understand that there will be people that you like, and people who like you, people who even verbalize that they have your best interest at heart. People are willing to say, man, I am all in. I will go to the wall with you with no question at all. And yet they've got this silent ulterior motive. Or they've got all the ambition and all the intention and all the intuition in the world, but they don't have the skill set you need. See, leaders have got to be able to discern that, and they've got to be able to test that mettle, if you will, M-E-T-T-L-E, not M-E-T-A-L. They've got to be able to test the mettle of the people around them to say, if I were to throw a quiz at you, if I were to put you under pressure, If I were to ask of you something outside the norm of your job description, your life expectancy, the things that you think your life is going to be all about, how would you handle it? How would you react? And sometimes leaders have to be able to put that pressure on just to see how they're going to react. Now, in a really small microcosmic way, yesterday I had a test like that. We did a wedding for a young lady that has had a bit of a rough journey, and so we did it almost as a gift. It was really, 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 really cheap compared to what we're good at doing. But there were not a whole lot of other players, professional vendors involved in the event. No coordinator, no florist, no cake baker. All of these things were done by friends and family. So as far as professionals on the scene, my son and I were pretty much it. We were the ones who've done more weddings than anybody else there had ever performed or attended. Except maybe the minister, because he came from a company. But the relationship that my son and I have is such that usually a look is enough. After almost 10 years of doing weddings together, a look is enough to go, that is not what you're supposed to be doing right now. And he gets it, and he doesn't take it personally. He understands when that critique says, turn it up a little, turn it down a little, that's perfect, or, well, that's a little tinny, listen to the quality of the sound. And he doesn't take that as a critique. See, when you've got a partner, a business partner, or another leader that you're working with, and they take constructive criticism or direction as critique, that's probably not the person you need on your bus. When it comes to high pressure, high stakes, maneuvering, negotiating, you're going to have, as a leader, people around you that when you give them that look or you just simply say, stop, that it's not a discussion, there's not a bunch of questions that follow it, it's not a bunch of hurt feelings, there's no drama that comes after it, not in the meeting, not now, and not ever. It's accepted as, I trust you, I know that you said, hold. It's not a discussion. I'm waiting for the next set of instructions, and I trust you as my leader to take me into battle that way. If you ever watch movies with SWAT teams or SEAL teams, and they give the two, and they've got all these hand signals. What you never see is that SWAT member or that SEAL member behind him going, no, but I want to, no, I think I should go. I really like to go. I like that scenery. That doesn't happen. Why? Because the training says, I'm the one making these decisions right now. I will hold the pattern myself, and if I screw this up or I do this wrong, I'll take the blame. But if it's going to go right, I have to know where you are, what you're up to, what you're doing, and how you're doing your job. And I have to be able to trust you to do that the way that I instruct you to do that, so that all the pieces can come together, because primarily it's the leader's responsibility to see all those pieces. When you get other people in the team who are starting to see all of those pieces, there will be a sweet spot of a season where you don't even have to instruct. They're predicting your instructions. They feel what you're about to say. And let me tell you something else. This is also the time that you need to start looking to replace them, because they've worked themselves to the level where they can do your job. Now it's time for you to promote and them to step into your role, or for you to spin them off and start another group with them as the leader, because they've got what it takes to do that. Now that's not always the case. For the illustration of a SEAL team, a sniper is a phenomenal tactician in the art of war. But a sniper is not always a good team leader, because snipers are really, really accustomed to being alone for long periods of time, and interacting with other people doesn't always suit them as their strong suit. They're really good with a gun, they're really good marksmen, they're really good athletics most of the time, but their persona is a little bit different than a team lead. The same is true with firefighters. The guys who are charging into the building with hoses versus the captain who's at the command scene and directing traffic of 20 different people versus the guy who's standing at the side of the truck adjusting water. Totally different people, different skill sets, different things they have to understand and be polished on. It's the same in the kitchen. It's the same in every business. The marketing director and the sales director have different ways of looking at the world. But if they don't work well together, the whole team is going to be a disaster. When you're going in to fight the system, to fight for new product, for new territory, for new market share, for anything, to build a relationship stronger, you need to know that the people on your team are equally skilled, equally committed, and have the same level of understanding about the projects, the tasks, and the goals in hand. Otherwise, as a leader, you're going to find that your bus is way off course. Your train is way off the tracks. And when a train gets off the tracks, you don't get any traction. I don't care what it is that you're fighting against. Injustice, attacks from the state, attacks from a market share, a competitor who wants to take over your territory. If the team around you can't be trusted to carry the ball when you're down, you're not going to win this fight. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.